don't do that. Hi, hopefully you guys can comment again. I am back. Hopefully comments live chat is not going to turn off. I don't know why it turned off. It never happened before. Also, personal shout out to Taz. If you want me to go live faster, do not scream at me to go live faster because I'm like already anxious. Okay, Lynn, Pietro, Taz, Ozzy, Mark, Ed, everyone, hello. Hi, Hardly. Hi, Odin. Yeah, so, I mean, we cut up. Are you a Ukrainian citizen or a US citizen? Why does it matter? I why does it matter? Like with what purpose are you asking? Yeah, today was a good day. I ran a lot of errands, did a lot of things that I needed to do. Tomorrow I'm going to go over all the raffle tickets, and on tomorrow's live I'm going to announce the winner of the Russia is a Terrorist State sweatshirt. Hi, David. So everybody who donated for the most recent fundraiser for the thermal drone, one of you is going to win a sweatshirt. And there are some very interesting tickets. So I think Chad, Martin, and Jason, not you, Jason, Jason from here are have the most tickets. But I mean, I've had raffles where people bought a lot of tickets. Whoa! Ow! Oh my gosh! Ow! 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 Ouch! That was bad. Sorry, I wanted to get up because my freaking thingy is falling off of here and it's so uncomfortable because of it. And then I hit myself on this glass table. Oh man, that was not fun. But yeah, so I've had raffles where like someone won and they purchased one ticket, so I wouldn't necessarily, be too disappointed. But yeah, and we're gonna choose a winner on live through like one of those wheel things. Ow. I will feel that so bad tomorrow. Oh no. Sorry, give me 1 second to just like. Oh, that's awful. Okay, so yeah, there is that. Ice pack? No. It's fine. It's just like one of those, like toe stubs, but like very, very bad, and an arm or a hand, not a toe. Sign up to Yulia's Discord for more reliable notifications than YouTube. Yeah, that's actually a very good idea. I do have a Discord. Cry and let it out. I don't want to cry. Oh my gosh, so a couple of my tweets went viral in the past couple of days, and there's so many like Russians and Russian sympathizers telling me to go cry when they run out of facts. I mean, they run out of facts. They run out of facts very fast. I mean, one can have an American accent and not be American. I'm a Ukrainian citizen, and that's my only citizenship. How did you hurt yourself? Well, Alice, you got in right after I did that. I just hit my hand on the stupid table, and this table is glass, and it's like really thick glass, and it just, I'm also like, I'm kind of like edgy today, as English people would say, I'm a bit jumpy. So I'm a bit jumpy today, and I'm just not, everything that doesn't go right is like making me really annoyed. So I apologize for that. Let me get a sip of this. Also, I was trying to put together a puzzle, and that absolutely didn't happen. Like, I think it's the slowest puzzle I have ever done in my life, which is not great. And also, thingy, Ed says, you really have to move back to the US for a month or so just to get your English vocabulary back to 100%. Oh my gosh, I don't think anything is going to do that. I think it's literally general brain fry, not the fact that I'm living in Ukraine. Although, like, sometimes, and I think I'm like putting a lot of pressure on it too, because I used to forget words all the time and it wasn't a problem. And I would like, and now if I forget a word, like, oh my gosh, it's like I'm putting so much pressure on myself. Like I was standing in the elevator today and I couldn't come up with like a word right immediately. And I was like, oh no, like I'm going to forget English and I'm not going to know how to speak it. And it's just like, that's not how it freaking works. Like, I've lived in the US for 13 years, speaking English every day. Like, it doesn't just fly out of your head. But yeah, some words that you're not using on a daily basis are obviously like you kind of forget them a little bit. Um, Also, today I picked up a hoodie, which I don't know why. I'm going to show it to you because I don't necessarily know. I'm probably going to also send it to the person who asked me for this hoodie. But so, someone from Chosen Company asked me if I know someone who can like take the Chosen Company logo and their combat patch and put it on a hoodie and like make it a good hoodie and stuff. And so I was like, yeah, sure. I actually do know a person in who has their own like agency that does that. So these hoodies arrived today from Germany, and I sent one over to the person because that one had like basically like it had everything done right, but it's a very different hoodie and a different material. They're two completely different hoodies. And then this one that I have, like the problem is that the Chosen Company logo is too small in the back. And honestly, like it's a little awkwardly small. But then the patch is really cool in the front. And I kept it for now, but I think I'm just gonna send it as well because what am I gonna do with it? And it's like it's a men's hoodie, but wait. Outside of like the the logo being too small in the back, I actually think it turned out really well. So this is the logo in the back, which is smaller. Like it doesn't look as small actually on here, but it is very small in person. Like it's a bit awkwardly small, and the other one has it like full back. And then this is like the combat patch in the front, which is embroidered, which I thought was so cool. So yeah, I think it's really cool. And then also, I don't know yet how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to show you another hoodie that I don't necessarily want to raffle. I just want to like send it to someone as like a thank you for following me. And I don't quite know how we're going to pick the person yet because it just makes, you know, it's like how do you choose that like that? Just put all of the like YouTube subscribers into like a wheel and pick a random person. But so I'm going to show you another hoodie. And this friend of mine who does this in Germany, he created a line which is coming out, I think, next week. And it's a line of clothing that has like Ukrainian motifs and like things that are connected to Ukraine on it. And all of the proceeds from it are going to be donated. So I want to show you this line. And he sent me like a bunch of stuff from this line. And he was like, just give it to friends, like, you know, so get the word out. And so I want to show you that hoodie as well. We're just having a hoodie day. A hoodie day. That sounds so weird, but oh, here. Okay. So it looks like this in the front. You know, see, a little bird with a sunflower. And then the cool part is the sleeves, because the sleeves have this like vyshyvanka motif on them. And I really like it. And it's a large. So I don't know how, but somehow we're going to figure out how to send it to one of you. Maybe you guys have suggestions. Can you give me suggestions? There are also a couple of t-shirts. So like they all have sort of like hidden meaning that's like connected to Ukraine, but like this I think is a little too like you need to be Ukrainian to get it. But wait. Oh, Okay, these I really like. So these say how to get away with murder, and they have like Putin, Lavrov on it, you know? So we'll figure out how to do like a little, a little, a little, you know. You mean my throw or my blanket is slipping away? Oh, yes, I know, thank you. But yeah, so what's the name of the company? So it's not up yet, but once it is, I'm obviously going to post it in the community tab as per usual. But yeah, so if you guys have an idea of how to raffle this off, not like not for a fundraiser, but in general, because I just want to like, you know, I want one of you to just get it because you guys are awesome. Maybe there is, I just don't know how to like pick the winner, you know? So maybe there is maybe you can suggest a way. Maybe it's gonna be a Patreon thing. I don't know, but I also don't want to make it like a paywall thing. I kind of just want it to be like an everyone can participate thing. Maybe I'll post about it in the community tab and I'll pick out of all the people that will comment that they want it. Maybe it'll just be like a you know, invite your friends and every new subscriber is like an entry. I don't know. Like, how do people do this on the internet? I feel like anytime there is like a giveaway, it's like, hey, like and comment this post and like invite your friends and tag your friends. I don't know how to do these things. So if you have ideas, let me know. Let me know. So yeah. Okay. There is that. Okay. So OG sock puppet. The Russians are not doing good. What did they sabotage? A paint shop and a fire against a wall near a weapons factory. Can't remember the other thing. Well, yeah, but they've also been doing covert information operations, and those information operations are aimed at like at weakening support for Ukraine. And these are new things that they've done, but they've also been doing things this entire time, and they're a little more successful than that, you know? Just give it to Ozzy T or Sir Grumps a lot for all their work and promotion. So Grumpy is not going to Grumpy, I'm sure would love love the hoodie, but Grumpy is a larger man and he's not going to fit into a size large. I think last time I checked, Grumpy was maybe a 3X. You know, former firefighter and everything. So I don't think that's a possibility unless we want to see Grumpy in a very, 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 very form-fitting hoodie, which I don't think anyone wants to see that, and neither does Grumpy. So maybe we don't do that. Um, hi Melissa. Hi Glacian. Yeah, Grumpy. Maybe Mrs. Grumpy wants to see that. You know, maybe Mrs. Grumpy wants to see Grumpy in a very form-fitting clothing, but I don't think not even Mrs. Grumpy. Okay, well then, not even Mrs. Grumpy. Ouch, oops. But yeah. I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like I had something to say and I'm missing what I wanted to say today. Hi Gord, good Hi Gord, good to see you. What am I missing? I'm not saying something I needed to say. I don't know. It'll come to me. Okay. Are we ready for the news? Because it is very late and I am getting here late, but to be fair, time literally absolutely slipped away from me because I was doing the puzzle and it was the hardest puzzle I've ever done. Ukraine should have kept some nuclear rounds or kept a contract with the West. Well, we do have a contract with the West, and it's called the Budapest Memorandum, where the West obliged itself to guarantee our territorial sovereignty and integrity in exchange for those nukes being dropped. Romania intends to become the main producer of munitions for Abrams tanks, said Economy Minister Radu Oprea in an interview with Digi24. We want to turn the enterprises under the auspices of Romarm into an advanced center for the production of large caliber ammunition, specifically 120 and 155, and export them to Eastern and Central Europe. To achieve these goals, a powder factory is necessary. In March, Romania already received support from the European Commission for its construction, Opera said. Oprea, sorry. I think that I pronounce Romanian names in an Italian way, which I don't know why I do that, but that's probably because I don't speak Romanian, and the closest language to Romanian, which it's not close, but the closest the closest next to Romanian that I speak is Italian. So the heads of foreign affairs of the Baltic countries, no, the heads of foreign affairs of the Baltic countries, Poland, Finland, and Norway, discussed walls against drones on their border with Russia, according to ERR. Unfortunately, in the near future, we must be prepared for an increase in Russia's attempts to disrupt our lives with the help of drones, as it becomes increasingly difficult to physically enter our territory. Estonia would like to cover the entire eastern border with technology capable of detecting and repulsing drones. In large cities, it will also be necessary to install such a system. As we see on the Ukrainian front, even the smallest drones have already proven their value as reconnaissance and offensive weapons, said Estonian Foreign Minister Lauri Laamanets. Or Laanemets. If you're Estonian, please correct me, because I am not even going to pretend like I know how to pronounce Estonian names. Finnish Interior Minister Mari Rantanen believes that while this initiative is unlikely to be implemented in the near future, it makes sense for the countries to work together. Ultimately, a drone is a very good surveillance tool, especially for long borders where there are many areas where it's impractical or impossible to build a fence. In this sense, it is worth taking full advantage of the new technology. The ministers also agreed to quickly help each other in the event of a cross-border or hybrid attack, as all countries bordering Russia now need to be vigilant. Hi, Maria. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, Juju. I mean, there is not much that I can say about this other than it's good that the Baltics are thinking about further protections and further border reinforcements. I will say there was one person from Estonia that really pissed me off. Toomas Ilves, who's the former president. And the reason why he pissed me off so much is because I had such a high opinion of him. And, Linnea, my former co-host, interviewed him before, and he used to follow me on Twitter. And he was a great guy and a great supporter of Ukraine as well. And all of his ideas, and everything that he was saying was very good, until recently Zelensky said that the Baltic states are next. And obviously all of the leaders are saying this, if Ukraine falls, the Baltic states are next. And then Toomas Ilves was really bitter and really salty about it. And I understand that it gets really annoying to hear it every single time. I get it. But Zelensky is not saying it to the Baltics. Zelensky is saying it to the rest of NATO, so they act more. We know that Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania are contributing a lot of their budget in order to help us. But I think this man has been going on a Twitter rampage of just writing a lot of unhinged stuff. And one of these unhinged things was him saying something along the lines of I think it's time Ukraine just shut up about this and let us deal with our own defenses, or something like that, as if we don't freaking know. And it was such a weird statement to make, because we know that you're next. We're not saying this to you. We're saying this to the rest of NATO, so, you don't in fact become the next target. But anyways, it was just it seemed sort of like a temper tantrum. And then every single person that was saying, things to him that were hey, this doesn't come off right, or whatever, he would just block or yell at or be very condescending to. And that's wild, because he wasn't like that. He had a very clear pro-Ukrainian position. He had a very clear anti-Russian position. He's done multitudes of podcasts in the past where he was warning about this, and he was warning about Baltics being next. So it's just very, very strange. Do you think Hungary is an economic threat to the EU? Yeah, because the EU is basically wasting its money on Hungary. Hungary doesn't bring anything in and doesn't bring anything back. Um, but they drain the EU budget because because Hungary needs so much assistance because it's not self-sufficient, and also it is a threat because Hungary is abusing its veto power and letting Russians in and closely cooperating with Russia, which is why, yeah, it's a threat not only economically, it's a threat to the security of the European Union. Uh, Dunob, hello. Aussie T, is there a channel where you're not, or are you just stalking me? If it's a channel and it's pro-Ukrainian, Aussie T is there. Just letting you know. And he's great, and he does a lot to support Ukraine. Also, you guys, just a gentle reminder, if you are on the live and you like what you're hearing, please don't forget to like it if you're on YouTube. And if you're on TikTok, yeah, also like it. Why not? And if you feel like you appreciate my work and you love hearing from me almost nightly, please consider becoming a member to my YouTube channel or a member to the live feature on TikTok, because it does go a really long way and it does help me make ends meet. Or you can also become a patron on Patreon or buy me a coffee. There are plenty of different options. They're all in my links in bio on every platform, and they are genuinely incredibly appreciated because I don't make any revenue from videos. Well, I mean, I do maybe like $20 a month. And TikTok has been shadow banning me heavily. So, so yeah, so if you feel like, you want to subscribe to me like you do to Netflix, I really wouldn't mind. So thank you very much. I like it so much I hit the like twice already. Well, if you hit it twice, I feel like it unlikes it. So maybe 3 times the charm. Hi, Jack the Rocky, and hi, they exist. Hi, Gina. Hi, George, or Jorge. Jorge? Would it be Jorge because it's Andrade, which is, but I feel like Jorge is spelled differently. Okay. Residential buildings were damaged in Jmerenka, Vinnytsia region, and there are victims. The head of the administration, Serhiy Borzov, reported that 3 4-story buildings, 7 private houses, and 6 cars were damaged. 3 people were injured and refused hospitalization after receiving assistance. 40 people were evacuated from their apartments. Currently, work is underway to dismantle overhanging structures that pose a threat to bypassers. No. No one expects anything from Hungary. Yeah, no one expects anything from Hungary. Also, of course, last night, which was not like last night, but the night before that, Russia was using well, I mean, I guess, yeah, no, last night, Russia was using a huge attack on Ukraine, and Ukraine managed to intercept 12 out of 14 missiles and 31 UAVs. Russia used 2 KH-47M2 Kinjal missiles, 12 KH-101, KH-555 missiles, and 31 Shahed drones. Oh, hi, Archer. I see. Okay, so George then. Well, see, I don't know. I just don't want to be like one of those, Americanized people who looks at the name Jorge and like, because your last name is very Spanish. It's Andrade or Andrade, and I don't want to be like, oh, George, and it's actually Jorge. And like I don't want to be one of those like annoying American people. Zelensky visited the sites of the latest Russian terrorist attacks in Kharkiv today, and he called on Western countries to take part in the peace summit and help stop the war. There is a video here that I could show on YouTube, but you're going to have to watch subtitles, and I can't show it on TikTok because what I realized is every time I show content that isn't directly my face, but is like any other content, my live gets flagged as unoriginal content and it gets restricted, and that is likely why none of my videos are being shown to anyone on TikTok, because it's probably like a shadow ban because of that. Shouldn't Hungary be excluded then? It should be excluded, but there is no procedure for expulsion of a country in the European Union. What they can do is what they have been doing is they can punish it monetarily. Hi, Hooves. So this is a very, very sad image, and I'm sure you must have seen it flying around the internet today. But this boy's name is Mikhailo, and what he's doing is he's giving a DNA swab to a search and rescue team because his father didn't make it home yesterday after the Russian terrorist attack on the epicenter supermarket or hypermarket, whatever you want to call it. Due to the fire, experts fear they will have to sift through the ashes to identify the remains of the dead. Ukraine needs the strengthening of its air defense system so that children do not lose their parents in this storm of Russian aggression. So there are lots of kids that are going to have to do that because actually a friend of mine was in Kyiv today. I did not get to see him, but he lives in Kharkiv and he helps search and rescue. And he was saying that he's incredibly tired because he was helping search and rescue in Kharkiv yesterday at epicenter. And I asked him, how is search and rescue going? And he's like, oh, it's going to continue for a very long time. There were 40 injuries identified yesterday and 4 fatalities. And I don't think that that's anywhere near the actual amount of fatalities. Most of them are likely under the rubble, unfortunately. French President Emmanuel Macron will visit Germany on a 3-day state visit, marking the first such trip by a French president in the last 24 years, according to Reuters. Macron's visit will also include a bilateral intergovernmental meeting, is intended as a gesture of unity between Germany and France. I hope that they agree on, sending Tauruses or letting Ukraine hit Russia and Scholz can stop, Scholz can stop being Scholz. Biden called Putin a cruel tyrant and confirmed the unwavering support for from the United States for Ukraine and its war with Russia. We stand with Ukraine and we will continue to do so. We stand against a person I have known well for many years, a cruel tyrant. We cannot and will not back down, he noted. Biden emphasized that the U.S. will continue to support weapons and train the Ukrainian military, but he ruled out sending U.S. troops to Ukraine. American soldiers are not participating in the war in Ukraine. I'm determined to keep it that way, he said. So first of all, Ukraine's not asking for it. Second of all, I mean, I think that this is only something that Biden is ruling out while it's a possibility, while Ukraine is still holding strong. However, if there is any sort of chance of World War III unraveling anywhere but Ukraine, trust me, American military is going to go on the ground. However, it's election year, and obviously with the tensions between Republicans and Democrats and MAGA supporters and like whatever, of course, Biden is not going to send any American troops anywhere near Ukraine. So that's the thing, and he knows that would sending American troops on the ground in Ukraine would lose him any sort of semblance of support he might have from the Republican electorate. So if anything like that were to happen, it would have to happen after the election, provided that he still stays president. But also Ukraine hasn't asked for it. But I'm saying that, right now the situation, thank you. Right now the situation does not look to the US dire enough to send American military. But if Ukraine were losing hard and there was a possibility of Russia completely wiping Ukraine off the map and trampling all of our positions, trust me, NATO troops would be on the ground. So yeah, Scholz opposes the use of Western weapons for attacks on the Russian Federation to prevent a big war. I'm not even going to comment on that because honestly, out of all the leaders, Scholz is probably my least favorite one. Well, actually, I think it's like all the pro-Russian people in the EU. Thank you, truthful. So obviously, my least favorite person is Orban and Fitzo and stuff like that. But then Scholz, out of like the pro-Ukrainian people, probably is the most annoying because he just has no balls. And then sometimes there's like a semblance where he grows them for like a minute and he does something. And it's almost like a toxic relationship where you're like, oh, finally he did something right. And then he just does, what he always does. So we are not going to concentrate on it. Juju says, I'm a Republican voting for Biden. Well, I think Odin is also a Republican voting for Biden this time around, isn't he? There are many Republicans that I've heard from that are voting Biden because, it's the lesser of two evils. And like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not so keen on Biden, but it is for sure like hell much better than Trump. So yeah. Why is the West afraid of striking Russian territory? I mean, I think that the heads of the West, state heads of the West, most of them grew up in the Cold War era, so they still think of Russia as USSR, and I think that it's kind of like denial, right? It's 7 stages of denial. And at some point, all of them are going to come to terms with the fact that Ukraine needs to be able to strike inside of Russian territory, the same way as they came to terms with Ukraine needs tanks to be sent there. Ukraine needs weapons to be sent there. Ukraine needs jets. So it's sort of, to me, every single one of these decisions literally looks like 7 stages of denial because it's just really hard for them to accept that this is reality. Thank you, Republicans who vote Biden is for the country before party. Love you all. Yeah, I honestly, oh, thank you so much, Scotty B. Thank you for subscribing. I honestly, this is something that I want to say. Like, I think that very often, first of all, what I want to point out that when I say Republicans in a negative light, I never mean the Republican voters, right? I mean the Republican, uh, government right now. So all of the people in the Republican Party, lawmakers. The Republicans that I talk very negatively about, and I'm sorry, this is not going to change, are people that support Trump and that are MAGA. I personally know and personally have seen a lot of people who are Republican voters who have this time um, around put their own ego and their interests behind to vote for Biden because they understand that this is for the greater good. And they understand that this is really about their country and it's about, the country being disseminated or the country staying not as good as they would want it to be. Right. And it's very important. And also for everyone who is Republican and votes for Trump just because you vote Republican and that's your party affiliation, I just want you to know that it's like a lot of you are fantastic people, right? And I don't think that party represents you. And sometimes, like, it's not necessary to vote for something just because it's your party and you've been doing so for X amount of years. Like, you really don't have to. I know that it's painful to sort of like vote for another party, especially if you don't believe it, especially because like believe in it, especially because like US has a two-party system and you just kind of have no choice. It's a 50-50, right? But like, do these people really represent you? Like, look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. Look at like Matt Gaetz. Look at these people. JD Vance. Like, they're racist, homophobic, like misogynistic assholes. And I know that a lot of people don't like these kind of like coined terms, but like, okay, let's drop down the words. It's like they're women hating gorillas, like disgusting people that can't like put their stupid egos aside to act normal in public. It's like, that one embarrassing friend you have at the that you bring to like a nice upscale restaurant and they're just like laughing very loud and screaming and they don't know how to like use silverware and stuff, and you're just like, and everybody at the restaurant is staring at you and like, it's just like you don't know how to act in public. And sometimes there are situations where like, the situation calls for you to just like shove your ego up your ass and sort of like, and calm down because this is not a train station. It's a nice restaurant. That's half of the Republican Party right now. Like, most of the lawmakers in the party are those embarrassing friends you have at a restaurant that you're just sitting there and you're like, I really just want to sink into this seat right now. Right? Like, they don't represent you. So just think about that. Country before party. Yeah, and if you can't And if you're a Republican and you can bring yourself to vote blue this year, just don't vote. Really. That's sort of like that's kind of like the thing. Also, Ozzy, thank you for buying 3 coffees. That's very sweet of you. And John, thank you for your super chat. What do you call a fish with no eyes? Oh, haha. I see. What a great dad joke. So today marks 10 years since the first battle for the Donetsk International Airport. 10 years since the last passenger flights from there. 10 years since the story of cyborgs began. Ukraine needs safe skies. Ukraine needs additional air defense systems. So, my friend Ola today, she's from Donetsk, she reposted a tweet from someone in Donetsk 10 years ago, or maybe it was officially from the Donetsk airport, management or whatever. And it basically said, "Hi, we're so sorry, but Donetsk airport is temporarily shutting down and there are not going to be any inbound or outbound flights um, for an unknown amount of time, basically." And yeah, it's been 10 years since Donetsk airport temporarily shut down, and it's also completely ruined. Also, Russia today struck Zaporizhia airport, which just evil. I'm going to show you on YouTube a video from United 24 about this subject, and you guys on TikTok are just going to hear it because I can't show the video because TikTok. Time the airport was still operational in the last 2 months. After the first battle, Russian formations temporarily halted the airline. After the early battle, the Ukrainian defenders ran from the cave cyber. So if you don't know, basically there were Ukrainian military. Ukrainian military was someone bought 2 coffees. Well, thank you someone for buying 2 coffees. That's very sweet. It literally says someone bought 2 coffees, so I don't know who it is. But what I was going to say is, for those of you who don't know the story of this, Ukrainian military with absolutely almost no weapons were holding the Donetsk airport, and those who were fighting at the Donetsk airport were given a nickname cyborgs because they lost the airport not because they couldn't hold it anymore. In fact, Russians hate Azov and all of those brigades because they stood their own with almost like bare hands, but they withstood. The concrete didn't, because Russia blew up all of the airport, basically. The US has announced that it will be represented at the Peace Summit in Switzerland next month, but it is currently unknown who will be in attendance to do so. According to a source from the Reuters agency, the United States will participate in the summit, but the source declined to specify who and at what level so far. So the Russians struck an airport in Zaporizhia today, which is really vile because today is, the 10th anniversary of the Donetsk airport, and it was completely ruined. And now this is what Zaporizhia airport looks like. Not that it was operational because, you can't really fly commercial flights over Ukraine, but Donetsk airport was the Azovstal of its time. Yes, it was. Denmark has invited a joint action plan with several EU countries to integrate Ukraine into the European defense industry, facilitating its access to EU defense innovations, Danish Defense Minister Troels Lund Poulsen announced. That's a really great idea because that way Ukraine can share in the manufacturing of the weapons and also can get sort of blueprints for weapons and also help innovate because, again, we know what's needed on the battlefield. Biden should be attending the peace summit, not some stupid fundraiser in California. Yeah, but Biden is likely not going to do that. Hi, Graham. Hi, everybody who's late. Hi, Lars. Russia is conducting sabotage operations in Europe to disrupt military supplies to Ukraine, according to a report by the New York Times. These operations include incidents such as the arson of a warehouse in England, a paint factory in Poland, residential buildings in Latvia, and an IKEA store in Lithuania. Additionally, Russian agents have been arrested on charges of planning attacks on American military bases. While these actions might appear isolated, US and European security officials assert they're part of a coordinated Russian effort to impede arms transfers to Kyiv and to foster the impression of growing domestic opposition to support Ukraine. A key tactic in the Russian sabotage campaign is the recruitment of local residents in European countries. This approach aims to make the attack more challenging to detect and to create the illusion that they stem from the internal dissent against assistance to Ukraine. By employing local operatives, Russia seeks to blur the lines and complicate the identification and attribution of these acts, thus undermining the solidarity and response mechanism of European nations supporting Ukraine in its conflict with Russia. So, of course, all of these operations are done specifically to undermine support for Ukraine, whether it is to blow up warehouses, whether it is to just create a semblance of conflict so people are distracted to somehow also blame Ukraine in it and tie Ukraine into it. And of course, all of this is genuinely done to undermine support. Hi, Michael. Also, hi, Kanti. And George is asking, since you mentioned Azov, Yulia, is it right that U.S. blocks weapons to Azov? If so, that's such a terrible policy. They should be armed ASAP. Yes, U.S. does block weapons to Azov. Azov is not allowed to receive any of the Western weapons, modern or not. In fact, Azov fundraised. Дякую. In fact, Azov fundraises for Humvees and stuff like that consistently because the only way that they can receive this modern tech is through literally buying it themselves. Azov was one of the most combat ready units in Ukraine at the time at which, Ukrainian military was a joke. And the reason why Russia hates them so much and spreads so many rumors about them is because they are the first. At that point, it was a regiment. Now it's a brigade. Before that, it was a battalion. Before that, it was literally a small unit. But they were the first unit that was trained to NATO standards and literally followed NATO exemplary. Also, thank you so much, Lynn. It's so sweet of you. I really appreciate it. So yeah, but the reason Azov is still not getting weapons, right, is because congressmen make decisions based on their constituents. Azov really lost their PR game. And last year, when there were lots of these crazy people coming out and claiming that they were in Azov and Mariupol, Azov dismissed them because they were like, oh, these are just psychotic people. And they weren't necessarily trying to fight the propaganda because they thought if they were not addressing the propaganda, it makes them the better person or the higher person, whatever. But in reality, what they ended up doing is they ended up just not addressing these crazy rumors and not addressing these crazy people, like that one meth head from Florida who was saying that he was in Azovstal. And it got picked up on national TV, and all of these crazy, people and all of these crazy MAGA Republicans were like, look, Azov Nazis. This Nazi was sent by the CIA to serve in Azov. Like, the guy was filming videos in his apartment with his window covered saying he was in an Azovstal bunker. Like, what? And he said that he got a taxi ride out of Mariupol. Anyways, it's just it was crazy. But anyways, it was just some wild stuff. But the point is that they didn't address it. They just ignored it. And so, public opinion changes a lot because if senators are going to want to support Azov and take that ban off, angry Americans are going to be calling in and saying, I'm not going to vote for you because you support Nazis. So it's that. Also, yes, you guys, if you're in the stream, please don't forget to like it. If you would like to support me, you could do so by joining YouTube as a member or by super chats and super likes and whatever. If you are on TikTok, you could do so by joining, by signing up for the live feature as a member or through Patreon or buy me a coffee. And all of these things are incredibly appreciated, like genuinely so appreciated. So if you have the opportunity to do that, please do that. And if you want to always be notified when I post something, sign up for Discord. So the death toll from the Russian strike in Kharkiv has risen to 16, including a 12-year-old girl. The police have also reported that the attack on the epicenter injured 44 people, comprising of 14 women and 30 men. The artillery is doing everything possible to protect the infantrymen on the front lines. The primary objective is to prevent enemy assault groups from reaching Ukrainian positions. This involves destroying enemy forces at the stage of their deployment and advance. The goal is to protect the infantry from close contact and firefights with the Russian invaders. So this is just what it looks like to be at the front. Thank you so much. And also, one of the things that the news for some reason is not reporting about at all is that Russians have been using motorcycles for assaults. Like they legitimately do assaults onto Ukrainian positions just by using like motorcycles, which is, I mean, they will do anything and it's quite insane. And I mean, it's smart, to be honest. Like we should be doing that as well. But I'm honestly flabbergasted that that no one's really like talking about it, but that's what Russians have been doing. There is also a story that Russian FSB agents come to occupied areas of Ukraine to families whose kids serve in the Ukrainian military, and they basically say your son needs to stop serving and defending Ukraine because if he doesn't, then else. And they're basically threatening their mothers and fathers with execution and torture if their sons continue serving in the Ukrainian military. I tried to talk to some of the people whose parents have gotten these threats, but obviously for understandable reasons, they don't want to do that because of course they're scared for their family's well-being. But yeah, it's a vile thing to do, and no one really believes that it's happening, or a lot of people don't believe that it's happening because people in the West specifically are like, that's so crazy that they don't believe it. Also, thank you, Niels, for the YouTube memberships gift. I really appreciate it. And our next story is going to be, I'm going to show you a video. I really hope that it's voiced over in English so you on TikTok can also hear it. But it's, while most of the public attention is focused on the fighting in the north of Kharkiv region, Chasiv Yar and Sharetne, Russia's active assault operations have begun in the Kupiansk direction. Our team United 24 team visited units of one of the brigades holding the front line to report on the situation. So you can watch this video in full on U24 YouTube, but I'm going to show you a short version of it for Vertical Socials.
A lot of things are happening. On the screen we see a group of Russians taking away a wounded man. An FPV drone flies right into them, but unfortunately the projectile does not explode. What a spectacle it would have been. At the same time, the drone spots a group of enemy helicopters in the sky.
The enemy attempted to storm one of our positions with 6 soldiers. We repelled the assault with small arms fire and FPV drone strikes. The enemy suffered losses. 1 soldier retreated wounded, and the rest were killed in action.
So it's a very interesting U24 video that you can find on their channel, United 24 on YouTube. And you can watch the whole thing, and it's about Russian assault operations and Ukrainian defense currently going on in the Kupiansk direction. In light of Russia's offensive in Ukraine, Western countries should take over air defense in the western part of Ukraine, allowing Kyiv to concentrate on protecting the eastern regions, stated Rodrik Kisvater, a defense expert and politician of the Christian Democratic Union of Germany, in a commentary for the Neue Osnabrücker Zeitung. So that's actually very interesting, and I do believe that this is something that needs to happen, and it's something that will really take the pressure off of the west of Ukraine, where really we don't need to concentrate soldiers there, right? Like that would free up so much human resource. If we didn't need to deal with air defense, and if we didn't need to be scared that Russia can attack at any point, if Poland took on air defense of the west of Ukraine, that would really, really help us migrate so much human resource towards the east. I think this is fantastic, and I'm very happy that quite a few countries are talking about it at this point. It's something that does need to happen, and it does need to happen pronto. I think that would help Kharkiv. That would help. That would help. That would help a lot of other cities. Would that include defending of Odessa? No, Odessa is not Western Ukraine, and the West would not defend, unfortunately, something that is actively being bombed so much. And the whole point of defending the west of Ukraine is that not a lot happens there. And but we still have to have, we still have to have air defense batteries there. We still have to have soldiers there just in case. So if the West took that upon themselves, there would be air defense batteries freed up that could go to Odessa. There could be air defense. There could be soldiers that would be freed up that could go to Odessa and Kharkiv and Donetsk and Luhansk. And so that would be very, very helpful for everyone. Also, with that said, I, if you guys don't mind, will be going to bed because it is 2:22 a.m. and I know it's my fault that I did a live so late. But unfortunately, I was too preoccupied watching doing a puzzle and listening to a podcast, and I lost track of time. Tomorrow I will be live earlier, obviously, and tomorrow you'll find out who won the sweatshirt. The Russia is a terrorist state sweatshirt. So, exciting stuff. Alrighty, you guys. I will see you tomorrow. It's probably going to be a longer one tomorrow because there's a lot of information that we need to talk about, and yeah. Okay. Bye.